Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today is going to be a double feature as we showcase these two wonderful figures from the world of Halo. On our left, we have the Elite Ultra with Cinder Shot, and then on our right, we have the Elite Warlord with Energy Sword. Alright, so the world of Halo is a 4-inch scale line of action figures. If you're a fan of Halo, this is right up your alley. I love this line of toys. They're great for army building, and I don't know, I think they're really fun, unique, and it's awesome. All the different characters and aliens and Spartan armors you get, it's really cool. You can build up a nice collection pretty fast. Alright, so before we begin, I think I might have reviewed this figure previously. I was going through my figs and I noticed that I already had one of these loose. So there's a good chance I might have reviewed this guy already. It's easy for me to lose track because there's so many different aliens that they've released so far. But, you know, at the same time I thought it'd be fun, you know, just do a double feature. We could compare this guy against this one because they're both elites. The only thing difference is that this guy is the Ultra versus this guy, which is the Warlord. Alright, so let's get started. The Elite is from, or the Elite Ultra with Cinder Shot is from Series 4. The Warlord Series 2. These are their respective wave mates. So here's Series 2. And then Series 4. Okay, let's get started. Okay, much like other figures in the line, they come with these really fun display bases. These display bases are interlockable. As you can see here, these feature the newer design with the exposed notch towards the top right there. It allows for easy plug in and plug out, so you can just plug it in, take them apart. Each one features somewhat different texture. Oh, I take it back. I think these are identical. Yeah, they're identical. The only thing difference is their paint application. It's going to be hard to see, but the one on the right over here, this is much more of a grassy texture, whereas the one on the left is kind of like a combination between dirt and grass. So it's awesome. Display your figs. Here's the Cinder Shot weapon that comes with the Elite Ultra. And if you notice, there's a a peg on the back for storage. So if you want, there's a socket right there in the backpack, and you can easily just plug this in like so. Or whoops. Plasma energy sword, one of the iconic weapons from Halo. This comes with the Warlord. Alright, so we have the Warlord right here. Fantastic figure. Like I said, I already have this figure in my collection, so I don't remember if I bought this one solo or if this was one of the repacks that came like in the multi-pack box sets, because there's a couple of different box sets where you can just get like it's like a 3-pack. It comes, I believe, like with this and maybe like 2 grunts or 2 conscripts. And then the other Elite, this is the Ultra, different body armor. Alright, let's get these guys both in neutral poses. Let's do a side-by-side comparison as we review them. I think it'll be fun that way. Okay, so these both are Elites. You know, if you've played the game, you kind of recognize these aliens. Whoa, this guy's head just fell off. This is how it works. Ball joint, socket, nothing too crazy. Just plugs back in. Yeah, so if you played the video games, you're familiar with these aliens. They're very iconic aliens dating back to the first Halo. More so the more so traditional looking Elite, as opposed to the Warlord over here. This is a much more, I think, recent design as opposed to this one, which is a little bit more traditional. Oh wow, difference in articulation. All right, we'll talk about that in a second. So, all right, so we have our Warlord over here, and we have the Ultra over here. As you can see, different body armors. This one's much more heavily armored. Different color schemes, different sculpts altogether. They don't share any parts, I believe. Completely unique from one another. Beginning with the Warlord. Here's a front view. Nice, graceful body armor. That's how I would describe it. God, this thing keeps on popping off. Yeah, this is kind of frustrating. It just pops off pretty easily. I believe my other figure didn't do that, but yeah. So they have the elongated helmet armor towards the top, the fin on the front. They have the armor over his mandibles, right there. Much like the Elites, the elongated neck. And as we've seen already, this guy has a ball joint and socket for a neck. Whereas we'll go over it in a second, but the Elite, the Ultra is actually a little bit different in the articulation. Clean sculpted body armor, nice details. As you can see, it recreates the video game model pretty well, in my opinion. They kind of have the chicken walker legs. Articulation wise, this guy, his head rotates, looks down a little, looks up a little. So yeah, the head rotation, it's on a ball joint. Arms rotate, they go out. Elbow swivel, elbow bend, wrist articulation. There's a cut mid-torso, so it allows for some movement. Mine's kind of tight. The legs, ball jointed socket. You can kick up. They could swivel. His knees get kind of wacky. Single pin knee swivel, and then towards the middle of the shin, there's another break. Additional articulation. And then ankle articulation is just limited to like just a very, very it's not a whole lot of range of movement, but you can kind of twist it a little left and right. Yeah, overall, very solid effort. You know, if this is the Elite. You know, this pretty much hits the nail on the head when it comes to like looking what it's supposed to look like. And let's give this guy his energy sword. There we go. Yeah, so the range of motion with articulation is pretty cool. So you can get some pretty striking poses. The only issue is that this guy, at least my other one, he feels kind of floppy. Where I don't know how long these figures will hold like a pose for like an extended period of time, because he is kind of weighty towards the top, and his legs are a little bit on the floppy side, just a little bit. But it just might be my toy in particular. So yeah, great figure. I love the Elites. They're probably my favorite of the Covenant aliens, just because I'm a big fan of the Arbiter. Yeah, so that's this guy. Alright, so now we move on to the Elite Ultra. This guy, completely different color scheme, completely different armor. Very off-white with like a dark gray. Very, very futuristic looking helmet. Kind of has some red trim on the shoulders and the top of the helm. He almost kind of reminds me of, what's the character? I believe it's Zark from Tron. With the red trim at the top against the off-white body armor. As you can see, shares a similar posture to the Elite Warlord, which we just looked at. But the difference is, I mean, not only is it in different body armor, but there's also some difference in the articulation. For example, for the Elite Warlord, as we saw many times, his head just pops off. Ball joint and socket. Whereas the Ultra is somewhat different. This guy has actually a much more sophisticated articulation in the neck with a actual joint and hinge here. So this actually looks down pretty far, and then he can look up a little. Actually, he can look up pretty high. So you can look up, you can look down, and then of course his head can rotate. I prefer this style of articulation over this one, but I believe this was a much earlier mold in the toy line. So I think over the last few waves they've made improvements with this guy. Articulation of the arm is very similar. Rotate. Now, it does go up, but the thing is, this armor plating kind of gets in the way. He does have elbow articulation, swivel, wrist articulation. It's very standard. There is a cut mid-torso, but mine doesn't want to like move all too much, so I don't necessarily know if that's, you know, a break more so in terms of assembling the figure, or if it's meant for articulation, because mine doesn't want to rotate. But there is a cut there. It's visible here, and you can kind of feel a little bit of play. No waist swivel. His legs could kick up. Again, much like the Warlord, this joint here feels a little bit on the loose side. With the character being as top heavy as he is, I would appreciate it more if this was a tighter joint, just so he could hold his poses longer. He does have a thigh cut, so there's a swivel motion. Again, much like the Warlord, he has knee articulation here, and then an additional articulated joint mid-shin. And this guy has, I believe, more articulation at the ankles than the Warlord. No, they're the same. The only thing difference is that the Warlord, he has that covering over the front of his foot. So it kind of like hinders movement. It could go down, but it can't go up all the way. This one's range of motion's a little bit further, as you can see right there. Very solid figure. I like this a lot. The color scheme's awesome. Again, my only issue is that the joints feel like a little loose. I kind of wish they were a little bit tighter. But overall, I think it's an outstanding figure. You know, especially if you're into army building, your Covenant or your banished forces. You know, you really need as many elites as you can get your hands on. And it's cool that, you know, for troop building, you can build up the different kind of regiments. You know, you can have the Ultras, you can have the Warlords. Or, excuse me. So yeah, I can't recommend this enough. Great figure. I apologize, I'm just kind of like losing my voice right now. So, I like these figures a lot. They're great. Okay, excuse me again. All right, so let's wrap this video up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber viewer, thank you so much for continued likes, comments, and support. I greatly appreciate it. So, until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.